Batwoman #1, written by W. Hayden Blackman and written and art by J. H. Williams III. This is a confusing one, so I'm just going to really quick try to explain it. So this trade, at least, opens up not with issue 1, but with issue 0. However, issue 0 was actually released 10 months prior to issue 1 and the start of the New 52 as a whole, so it wasn't ever really in this continuity. But I mean, Batwoman also never had a series before this one, so it's all touchy. All you really need to know about Batwoman's history is she appeared shortly, was it during Final Crisis or after Final Crisis? I don't know, one of those things. She is Kate Kane. She is Batman's cousin through his mom's brother. They don't talk or get along. Well, I mean, the families don't talk or get along. She's a military brat. Her dad is a high-ranking military member. She was in the army or some branch of the military. She was kicked out for violating Don't Ask, Don't Tell because she is super gay. And her dad helped her become Batwoman for some reason. Also, there was a whole thing about her mom and her twin sister being dead, but her mom is dead, but her twin sister isn't, and also became a supervillain, possibly named Alice, but there's not confirmation on that, but probably. It's all apparently covered in Batwoman Elegy, which I have not read. I'm told it's great, so check it out if you want. But, yeah, all that is taken as canon. And then we get into this. So, it opens up with a couple recounting to the police what happened. And basically, it's, for those familiar with, I believe it's one of the Conjuring movies, The Curse of La Llorona. I'm going to mess that up at some point over this arc. But La Llorona, she came in. It's a ghost who's crying and saying how basically she wants children. She's just kidnapping children. And either she kidnaps them or drowns them in her tears. So a family had to watch this happening, and they explained like what it felt like. She took the air, took their breath. It was cold, like falling through ice. And then Batwoman comes in. The kids are already gone, but Batwoman, she tries to. Well, sorry, they're not already gone, but they're already pretty much captured. She tries to attack the ghost. The ghost disappears. The kids disappear with it. And then she stays with the family until the police arrive. And they are recounting all of this to Detective Maggie Sawyer, who is just doing her best trying to understand what's happening. Apparently, many other children have been captured. 12 in all, including their 3. And she says, like, look, I'm not going to stop looking. I'm glad Batwoman was there, but we're gonna do our job now. Cut to down in the lobby of the Gotham City Police Department, and Kate Kane is there, and she's looking at a picture of her old flame Renee Montoya, who has her own history. I'm not going to get into unless it comes up explicitly, but there's a thing there. Basically, she just came in to say, "Hey, I want to go on a date. When are you going to ask me out?" She's like, "Oh, I gave you my card." And she's like, "Oh, you're a detective. You should have just tracked me down." But anyway, they say, "All right, well, let's go out for beer or something." Cut to Kate at her, I guess, base is the best thing you can call it, that her and her dad made. And she's with her, it's some sort of family member of some sort. They don't explicitly say who, but her name is Bet. And she went by Flamebird at some point. I'm assuming all this was an elegy, by the way. I'm very uneducated on this point, which doesn't make it a great jumping in point, but hey, we'll deal. Her name is Bet. She went by Flamebird, but I guess she got the crap kicked out of her. So now she's back to being pleb in just a gray, drab-looking outfit. They get changed to their costumes. They go dashing over rooftops. And then we cut to the DEO, the Department of Extra Normal Operations. There's a meeting between Agent Chase and Director Bones, who's just a skeleton man wearing a suit, smoking a cigar, and he's fantastic. But anyway, Chase is brought in for a new assignment from Bones. Basically, it all just boils down to, yeah, we want you sent to Gotham. We need to figure out, there's a terrorist group in Gotham named Medusa, and somehow Batwoman is connected to it, so try to track down who Batwoman is. Also, they very casually mention, quote, "We're still tying up loose ends from that terrorist act in the skies over Gotham Harbor." I have no idea what they're talking about. Absolutely none. Hopefully that gets resolved here, but we'll see. Next page, we cut to another child has been drowned with a sibling that was, a younger cousin that was taken. Sawyer's talking to Commissioner Gordon and is like, hey, it's the only lead I've got is La Llorona, and that's just a myth. I got nothing else to go off of. And Gordon's just like, if you got anything, you chase it down and you keep going, whether or not you think it's an urban legend. Batwoman is standing over listening to all this from the shadows. Then we see that Batwoman and Bat are changing back into their civvies, and we see how they went and beat up what was her name? The cue ball and the pool hall gang. Terrifying, truly. And Bet's just complaining, like, man, I fought Deathstroke. I don't need to be a pleb. And Kate's just complaining that she wasn't paying any attention. She was just getting into the fight. And then Kate's dad shows up out of the blue, and we get this whole... I'm going to gush on the art at the end here, but we get this whole sequence of, like, what I assume is all of her history. And she basically chews her dad out for knowing that her sister was alive and not telling her. And now that she's gone again, because I guess she's gone again, her dad says, all right, well, we just soldiered on, so get over it. And he's like, no, I'm out. Bye. Cut to, she's back in her Batwoman outfit. She's checking out where those kids disappeared. And Batman approaches her and says, hey, I don't care it's your Batwoman, but I have a proposition for you. And so ends the issue. I cannot tell you how wonderful the layouts in this book are. They are so gorgeous. Like, every single page, there's at no point is there ever just a stereotypical panel. Everything, like when it's La Llorona, everything feels like water. When it gets to action scenes, everything's all jagged. When it gets to the disappearance of the kid, and it's all mysterious, there's just wavy lines. It's so fantastic. I cannot gush over J.H. Williams' art anymore. It's so good. There's a painterly aspect to it. It's just beautiful. The only times that it has a normal sort of panel layout, and even then it's stylized, is when she's not as Batwoman, when she's just Kate Kane. And I think that works for the story as well. So, writing-wise, it's not a good writing for a reboot. I feel like I'm missing a lot. They do a couple of those things where it's like, well, you should have told me this thing, and then they go on to explain the thing. Just for the sake of the reader. I get that. That's fine. But it's just a lot. But part of that comes down to the fact that this is Batwoman's first series, period. So they had a lot to cover. But overall, the art just blows me away. It's fantastic. So overall, I'd say I'm going to give this a 8. It's very good. I wish it had explained a little bit more. I'm not counting the 0 issue in on this, just what came with issue 1. So that's why it's not higher than it is. But I'm giving it an 8, and that's still pretty damn good.